So it's a beautiful day. Let's go enjoy the sunlight. No, but not here. We didn't go. They're martial arts. There are martial arts schools everywhere. Okay, but they're kind of hidden. Oh, I got my director here. Come over here. The martial arts schools, you get involved with them, they're the ones that do the lion dancing. I had a little girl that her father was one of the first Kung Fu masters. And so she would complain about how she had to go to school every day and she had to go to Kung Fu school right here. While Kung Fu, she actually opened a, my director, Lucas, loves this. He would get up at 5 in the morning because I have my contacts. My friend who's the fire commissioner is also a lion dancer, okay? And she's also a lawyer, okay? So I connected with her to meet at the restaurant we just met at so they could talk. And so Lucas, who actually grew up Chinese, Swedish, right? He in Hong Kong, he really didn't know. I said, how can you grow up in Hong Kong and not know about lion dancing? He says, I saw pictures of it. I said, you're 27 now and you just saw pictures of it. You need to see it. So I introduced Connie to him and she got us in here early in the morning so he could see them set up and do their prayers and whatever they do for Chinese New Year because he came in the winter, so it's Chinese New Year time. And while there's a woman named Maidu, she opened branches of it she just opened a brand new one in Walden and other places where there are a sizable Chinese population. But they practice here. So hidden in Chinatown, all the martial arts schools, okay, and they're everywhere. And the lion dancers you see in New York are martial artists. And the very first all-woman lion dance, because they're originally all male, women's lion dance troupe was founded by, she's actually a Unitarian minister, her name from Malaysia, I think. And we actually got to go visit her place, which is at the Chinatown Trade Center. And now some of the students opened their own branch. It's all women. It's called Noiwa. I know some of them because I taught them when they were in 3rd grade, when they were little. And now many of them are Chinatown leaders. They serve on the boards of different places. So things are not to be understood as stereotypes. It's understood that people are actually multi-talented. They can be lion dancers and lawyers at the same time. You know? And martial artists. But that's where Chinatown life is not just the restaurants. Although restaurants are an important source of income and provides employment without you having to know too much English. Just like the garment industry is portrayed as the poor, suffering garment workers, but they were not. That's why I'm mad about these new statues going up that show the restaurant workers and the laundry workers and the garment factory like this. I said, I know garment workers, all the women in my street. They were not like that. He wrote this romantic thing, the artist that sculpture did, about how they were staring into space. He said, you ever sew, you stare in your space, you don't happen to needle pokes you. I said, they were not staring into space. They were loud and aggressive. They sang opera for fun. So I worked with them. Okay, you always go to the place they talk about because they like to create this narrative that requires you to be saved. You know, somebody can be your savior. You didn't need saving. I said, oh, we don't need saving. Gwen and I agree. We don't need saving. We just need to get your damn foot off our necks. Excuse my English. These are the mothers. These are the mothers who, 50 years ago, this is the 50th year of busing in Chinatown. I taught their children. And these were the lovely ladies, okay? They organized against busing, making it work. Mrs. Lee, in those days we didn't have special ed, okay? So Mrs. Lee's son is Hang Lee, who had cerebral palsy, but we didn't have a. He's so funny. He drools. So the kids who were busing didn't know whether they had to do with being Chinese, that he drooled. He didn't know. He didn't even know what he had. He goes, Miss E, am I mentally retarded? I go, no, you have something called cerebral palsy. He goes, oh, okay. But he didn't know because we didn't have those kind of labels then. Her son was wonderful. She's a wonderful mom, very involved in the school. I taught her son, who ended up going to France, and he ended up going to Harvard, I think. And I taught her niece, and I taught her daughter. She had 3 daughters. And I taught their children. Well, this is community, right? It was Boston busing in Chinatown, 1975. So that was my 4th year teaching. That's me. Isn't that a funny picture?
It's super cute.
Oh, that's Suzanne Lee. She's the Chinatown establishment, which is the Chinese consolidated, the one that were going to go back to the homeland and get their land back. Well, they called her a leftist in the 70s. They called her a communist because they were anti-communism because it took their homes in China. Okay, and they called them capital pigs. Okay, that's Suzanne. She's hilarious. Okay, I said, you're still screaming. You're screaming in my movie. You've been screaming since you were 18. She came and she was the new ESL teacher who was next to me. I was isolated teaching a 4th grade. So while I was teaching Hang over there, she arrived. Nobody's going to pick on her. The Boston Public School Department were going to isolate it. They were going to make us fail. And we started learning Black Power moves. And so we decided all you need is a stationery with a letterhead. The Asian American Teachers Collective or something. Then you won't be punished individually. Because we were vulnerable because we could get fired. We're only like 22, 25. So we were vulnerable. We were new, okay? And so what we did is we created stationery with a letterhead. I think it was called the Chinese American Teachers HK. I don't remember what the name was. It didn't matter. What mattered was you're protected by an organization. So if you want to start any kind of movement or leftist, what they call leftist work, it isn't leftist, it's activism, okay? All you need is stationery. You can create a name for yourself, okay? And so you see here, it's hilarious. I said, of all the photos you take, at the Chinese exhibit, I said, why'd you pick this one? They said, we like it. I go, yeah, that's me, looking like, I'm yelling at the world. That's hilarious. You want to take a picture here? With this one? So this is what happens with diaspora. You end up in foreign countries not knowing the language and not having your relatives. So these spaces are not about gambling. They're really about social life. But I worked at a mass council against compulsive gambling as well with my Taiwanese friend. Countries that believe in fate and have problems with flooding, avalanches, food insecurity, will become spiritual because they're suffering, and part of the spirituality may turn into a kind of belief that things are not under your control, and that can go to being superstitious. Maybe if you do this, your children will be safe. Maybe if you do this, your husband will keep his job, or whatever, or I'll keep my job. In the film scene in Love Chinatown, it was filmed in there. Another coincidence. The waitress knew Gwen, knew my co-star, called Mui Mui. She goes, little sister. Every term in Chinatown is familial. Everybody's your auntie, every man is your uncle, okay? And everybody's your little sister, which you protect. Mei Mei means you protect her because she's little, okay? Everybody's your Gogo, which means your older brother. So you look up to him, see? So you have this idea of everybody being a family, okay? So that's how I grew up. I grew up playing down that end of Hudson Street. And over there, they see all those rebricks, so it looks nicer. All the old men of Chinatown who were stranded here, like my uncles, in the 1950s lived in these places. Without wives, without mothers, without any female in their life. And they never went to the prostitution zone either. They were lonely. My uncle lived at 17, right there. He was his hair place. 2nd floor. My uncles lived there, and my brothers, who were only young teenagers, sent to America to work, ended up living there too. During the day, they had to go to public school because it was the law. And during the evening, they worked in restaurants. And I said, Raymond, he was I adored him. I says, how come you work in a restaurant? You were like 12. She says, I had a free meal. He thought that was kind of cool. He was the only one in the family who ended up marrying a white woman, a woman from Nova Scotia. And she was wonderful. She was a sculptor and a poet. See? That's the Nationalist Party. My father and his brothers would hang out there. And my uncle, my mother's brother, would sleep there because it was also one of the floors was the G Family Association. He was a G. So whatever your last name is, you look for your family association. Okay, what? Okay. Education and the arts are very important to the traditional Chinese, the farmers that came. Okay. This building was built by the Merchants Association. Okay. And we, as a child, I went there to hear Chinese opera. Here. And the last day of filming, because my director Lucas loved karaoke, we came here with Sam Davis, the Oscar winner, singing karaoke here in Chinese and English, and Gwen, my co-star, because my director told Gwen, he walked to her and said he loved karaoke, so she brought us here. He loves karaoke. He's a film director. But imagine Oscar winner Sam Davis, so cute and handsome. We ended up coming here. If you don't like karaoke, you can come here. But guess what the highway did? The highway destroyed parts of Chinatown. And I talk about that. It's a big part of the movie. And this family also owns that. That place is valuable because it has parking. At the original restaurant, Julia Child, the famous French chef, she learned to make documents there. And they tore down Hudson Street, and they're replacing it with this type of building, One Greenway. So I ended one of my stories about going over to Chinatown. I go into the lobby, and the guy says to me, "So, can I show you around?" It was ironic, because I just finished writing a whole piece about showing everybody around. You know, taking people by the hand through the history of Chinatown. This is Hudson Street. This is an important drag. Nealon Street divides commercial from residential. The Chinese live on this side generally, and the restaurants on this side. So in my mind, the tourists that came to eat Chinese food, my father worked at what is now the Wong Family Association. My father was the friendly mode d. It was called the Cafe House. Okay, and movie stars would go there. He served drinks to Ingrid Bergman, all this kind of stuff. And restaurants were a connecting place for the Chinese immigrant men. They met politicians and lawyers from the State House, because Chinatown served drinks after midnight. So all the politicians and movie stars that came in town, they would eat, say, at the Cafe House, okay? And they would talk at the bars. And so people like my father and other immigrant men, my father because he spoke English, were able to have access to power. They would say things like, "Oh, I have a friend, he's a lawyer. He works up at the State House," you know? And they would pull the levers of power that way. Okay, this highway was terrible, okay? It destroyed or cut short the life of Chinatown. Because look what it did. It cut off half of this building. This building, the Chinese Merchants Association, Chinese Merchants Building was actually built to house opera and gatherings, right? And Chinatown made a deal with them so they would not tear down the whole building. They tore the back of it. Okay. The building actually went further back. Next to here is a great place called the Power Art Center. Power Art Center is the first art center in Boston's Chinatown. The director is Cynthia Wu, fabulous. She's from Torrance, California. She's young, so didn't grow up here. Okay. She told me one time, she told me she was not interested in the past. I said, well, you should be. I represent the past. This is the Power Art Center. If you ever follow them on social media, they have all kinds of great events. Young artists of all ethnicities, mostly Asian. See, they have shows, they film. There's Ashley here. Ashley? Hi. Nobody's here. See?
Yay!
Yay! Ken Eng! How are you? You're back in town. Ken Eng is a filmmaker. Hi, Maya.
Hey, Cynthia.
Huh?
Good to see you
Yeah,
again.
good to see you.
Did you have dim sum yet or any other food?
No, I just treated the pineapple buns.
What's
and
up? That's so cheap of you.
No, that's not cheap. It is pineapple buns and milk tea are a symbol of colonial resistance, invented by the Cantonese of Hong Kong, because the British said you can't have our tea, and we said, damn you, we grew the tea.
We adopted the egg sandwich though.
Yeah, yeah,
Like-
yeah.
Ham and
That was
egg.
their thing. But the Chinese invented the pineapple bun, which has no pineapples in it. Okay, and it's just made to look like a pineapple. And then they invented.
You ruined my day
They invented
already with
milk
that.
tea. I mean, there are no cows wandering around in Hong Kong. Okay, so therefore they invented. They used canned milk. Okay,
Oh, condensed.
condensed milk. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
full of sugar, right? So anyway.
What's the next stop?
It made. Well, I'm walking around because I got to show them. There's a lot of history. I'm old, you know.
You're gonna show them Ping On Alley where like
Oh yeah, that's center of Chinatown.
you're
But they
gonna show
murdered
the alley
people.
where people murdered. This is where 5 people got shot.
Now you gotta remember, I grew up in a lawless land. I was a street child in a lawless land, and it made me what I am. Don't follow rules that don't serve people. This is what I tell when I'm a guest lecturer in colleges, and I said, Catholic colleges, but they teach you obedience. And I said, and I went to Catholic college, and I said it to them, I said, the goal of life is not obedience. The goal of life is justice. Remember that every day. And I've discovered the most effective way to fight for justice is actually through the arts. I've learned that in my 70-something years.
It's true.
We protested in the streets because we were in our 20s. We hopped on the Black Power movement. And we found ways to resist and resist, like Suzanne Lee and her voter rights, labor rights, all that.
Busing situation.
But anyway, he went to that prestigious high school, the most prestigious high school in the city of Boston, I told you, and he was known as a bad boy.
Great.
Just,
I overachieved, but then
you're
I'm still
overachieving, you're a bad
a
boy,
little-
okay?
like a
He has a
scumbag.
brother who's more conventional.
But he's still a bad boy too.
He's more conventional woman, but he was a bad boy. There's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of benefits to being a bad boy and a bad girl, because it gives you freedom. You're already known as a bad
You
boy.
play by your own rules.
You play by your own rules, and you claim your space, no matter what they say to you. You claim your space. This is my land. This is my street. This is my. I said that to older Asian male. You know, Asian males can be very entitled and privileged. Okay, I
I
said.
feel like you claimed my space.
Anyway, Maruichi, I met you at Maruichi, and there was this older Asian gentleman in the corner. You know, front of pot is sunny. I like to work there. He said, "You're loud," which I am. And then I said, "Well, you're an Asian male." He goes, "I don't know whether that's a compliment or not."
God damn it.
I said, "Neither a compliment nor an insult. It's just a fact."
Thanks.
He knew what I meant too. He was waiting for this woman to come serve him and everything.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, that's what I
So,
said.
yeah, I mean, you all should come back. We're going to premiere that video that we put together. But the idea is to build on top of this project that was started by the Chinese Historical Society of New England. And the way they formed was Mount Hope Cemetery is a public cemetery in Dorchester, and it was neglected, and there was
My uncle's buried
overrun
there.
by
Wasn't
grass.
no Debbie Dong, who's a lawyer from Borough. She was on the committee to fix that cemetery, so it isn't as dilapidated as your ad says.
But that's why they formed the committee.
Yeah.
Because it needed to be fixed up.
Yeah, I know my uncle's buried there because they had no wives, no daughters, no wives,
So
no
she was on the
daughters.
committee, and that's why it formed.
Yeah, she's a
because they
Brookline
wanted to
lawyer.
fix it up. And this is a video that kind of builds on top of their work to try to, bring awareness to who's buried there and the work that went into it.
See, bad boys grow up to do good things. Hey, hi, Gabrielle. We gotta take a picture.
Yeah,
together.
please enjoy it. Enjoy the
Gabrielle
space. Make
is the
yourself at home.
is the curator
Thank
at Gardner Museum. The Gardner
Nice to meet you.
Museum. We met because of what?
How you doing?
Hi, Gabrielle. I was in Alston. Who had no family here were buried. They're called, it's a poor people's cemetery at the time. Peter's great. Peter is the founder of the Asian Studies Department at UMass Boston. And he was a youth, like all these kids you see volunteering, he was one of those. He came to look for himself in Boston's Chinatown, even though he's a northerner, he's not a southerner by birth, so usually Chinatowns are made of southerners, people like him. Yeah, the Guangdong people, they came. See, I actually haven't gone there. We used to go there because all the money that they died leaving, they had no wives or children. My uncles and my father saved the money, put them in a bank account for visiting their graves. Imagine that you work your whole life and your money's used to visit your grave. You have no wife, no daughter, no mother here because of the Chinese Exclusion Act. The Chinese Exclusion Act was brutal, what it did to Chinese people and Chinese families. You can follow her around. I'll stand there like that. Yeah, so right in the spot facing this. I used to wear clothes like that. Now I can't wear. So they built that new one to replace it.
So what's the name of the street again?
Hudson.
Hudson.
You need to read my website. It's called Hudson Street Chronicles. It's a story of the people who settled here first, because I knew it's going to get erased. And the story that I wrote, never published it, but I wrote it. My friend said to me, I never knew rice planting could be this sexy, Cynthia. I said, well, it's about forbidden sex. You're not supposed to have sex with your brother-in-law. See how Hudson Street goes right into the residential area? So I grew up watching all the men march down the street here every day around 2 o'clock. Because they all work night shifts. Okay? My cousin owned this house here, but it was sold to one of the family associations. Because Chinatown is shrinking, you know? It's being taken over by developers. So, he's retired very rich in Florida now, okay? The baby that was born, okay? But his daughter was living here for a while, but they're wealthy. They live in a fancy tennis community in Florida. And he kept his house for sentimental value. His mother was a moonshiner. See how I grew up with all illegality? Because we have a custom in Chinese culture, when you have a baby, for a whole month you kind of stay indoors, and they make this big pot of chicken soup with has alcohol in it. It has rice wine. It's supposed to clear out your clots, clears out all the stuff, and also I think imagine probably help with postpartum depression, you know. But your baby's sleeping all the time because it's got alcohol in the system, which isn't so great. But anyway, when I was a child, there were 2 moonshiner old ladies. They made wine from rice. I interviewed her for the Radcliffe Schlesinger Library project, okay? And I'm not supposed to ask questions that's on the list, but I asked her questions that had to do with that illegitimate birth. Because I'm sure she thought she was escaping to a foreign country where no one would know about her pregnancy. But she comes here and it's a model of a Chinese village, that everybody minds their business. Okay, so that must have been disappointing. So I wanted to write a story about what it's like to live in hiding, feeling shame. Because my mother said to me, you know, whenever she picked up her son, she had an illegitimate son, from kindergarten. I went to the school. She would go, my mother said she would go around the back way to go home. She lived down there across the street from me. She didn't go directly from the school straight down. She went to avoid the other mothers. It's kind of like the Scarlet Letter in some sense. I knew her. She was really nice. She lived across the street from me. But she never came out and sat in the soups like the other mothers. So I was wondering what it was. I was trying to explore what it was like to live a life of shame in a community that spoke your dialect, but nobody ever mentions it. None of the mothers ever said she was a bad woman. But I was very nosy, me and my friends, so we'd all say, so who's his real mother? And she was my neighbor. But she died last. The trailer from the movie Love Chinatown, the trailer was shot here on a rainy day. So we had the whole crew, the producers, the directors, the cinematographer. They were all here on a rainy day. We didn't plan on the rainy day. Beginning here, you have gentrification of the South End. You have Sowa, which is the new art district. But the South End and Chinatown were like one neighborhood. Many Syrian people, Lebanese people lived in the South End. See the wall? That's where my house was. And so they love to take those kind of pictures. They say, stand where you think your house was. And there's a sign that says, no trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted. And my reaction was, who the shit is the violator, you or me? That's my house, right? And we paid for it, okay? And you took it by eminent domain to build a highway. You're calling me a trespasser? You know what I mean? It was not curved. It was straight. They make it curve for the highway. This street did not curve, okay? This street was wide. This is like the next street over, which I'll show you. Which was not torn down. This is built for, so anytime you get on the ramp to go on the highway to the South Shore, just remember my house was there. See? He wanted me to stand here. See? Violators to be told. Quincy Towers. And it's attached to a school. That's when we try to do intergenerational stuff. I have to show you a place. My very favorite place I brought my director here. So that illegitimate child, he actually went there a lot, the one in the corner, to have Coca-Cola. He didn't know that his half-sisters and half-brothers were working there. And they never really knew that was his brother. This dude was the most handsome boy in Chinatown. What? You want to sit in some... We can go have lunch in Chinatown, but you can eat the best Chong Fan in Chinatown. It's not located in the commercial district. It's located here. It's run by a family. And I brought Lucas here too. He met the grandfather and everybody. There were Syrian families and Chinese families. It's in the basement and it's called May's Cake House. Kind of a hidden treasure. Chinese people know about it. A tourist stop.
So where did all the Syrians go?
West Roxbury a lot.
Okay.
I'm connected to a young woman. Well, she's a retired teacher now. Named Doreen Weishek, and she remembers her happiest days was growing up here. And she said her grandmother got hit by a car in West Roxbury. So anyway, this is a street that's interesting. It's called Johnny Court. It's a remaining street of row houses, and people want to buy them. And the Chinatown Community Land Trust is trying to buy up some of these buildings to preserve them so they don't get more gentrified and disappear. My friend's mother sold that house to the Chinatown Community Land Trust. And he's my eye doctor. And they all live in Newton now. This is my favorite place here.
Yeah.
My friend said you should carry a cane or something. And I said no, I was a little bit vain. Chinatown not for sale, see? Okay. He's the grandfather. He owns this place. He started it. He's the grandfather. Say hi.
Hi.
He knows I come here with directors and everybody. They sing man không vậy đó.
我姓雷嘅，
Mr. Liu. 我好似同我拍戲嗰女仔係姓廖。
係嘛？姓雷啊，
雷啊，
雷啊，雷公嗰個雷啊，
雷公。
天上嗰個雷啊。
Oh, thunder. Yeah, his last name is. See, they set up chairs for me because during COVID they had tables and they closed the discovered storage. So when I come, they set up these chairs for me. So I'll sit there with my tray. You have to try the rice noodles. Hello. Hey, come on,佢喺呢度食菜嗰啲凳。Oh, you're lucky. They have seats today. Yeah, help yourself. 喺度俾現款啊。Oh, okay, help yourself. I always believe in supporting Chinatown businesses. Oh, okay. See, this is how you get to know the community. You go to places, they get to know you, they treat you. That's what I say in the movie.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the food.
No, it's the best. Yeah. You like chili or like spicy?
Yeah.
Yeah. 中意啊。
Okay.
Okay. They're amazing. They speak my 4 languages. Wow. They speak Mandarin, they speak Cantonese, they probably speak Chinese, speak English.
Oh yeah.
So that, I said to Maya, you met Maya, right? I said, Maya, that's really not an acceptable statistic. The highest rate of suicide is among Asian American young women. I said to Maya, you gotta do something about that, but I don't know what. I talked to strangers in cafes. Yeah, and then I connect them if there's something in common. Like I can connect them with my director. Because I have leverage. That's the important thing about leverage. That's what Alyssa Liu has. Leverage. And I talked to this group and I said, you know why she has leverage? She created something. The beauty is irresistible. Okay? And she worked hard. So when I talk to the Ernst & Young people, which is corporate America, I'm invited to different spaces, corporate America, higher ed, Harvard. I said, corporate America, I says, you can do something about that by mentoring young women. And I said, but Alyssa Liu, she calls the shots. When they complain about their mothers, mostly Asian mothers, teaching them to work hard, not to be noticed, be humble, I said, your mother's not so wrong. Are you getting a lot of good stuff for your project? Ethnographic studies?
Yes, I got a lot. So I'm
You're
gonna.
like Lucas got too much. And he goes,
Yeah.
Cynthia, I have so much footage. I don't know what to do. I said, aim to the beauty and aim for the second thing, truth. Always tell the truth. So it's authentic. Aim for authenticity. You will find beauty in the authenticity. And you will find authenticity in the beauty. Don't aim for logic. Life is not logical, okay?